woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn.
Rich guys and hot guys get cheated on like everybody else. You lost your edge, she lost attraction. That's how it works. Don't just give her your attention. Make her earn it.
What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated?
Live from Philadelphia, your man, Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 513th edition of TSR Primetime, your nightly dose of red pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. We are presented by Gorilla Mind Rush, the best supplement for focus, energy, and concentration I have ever used, and that includes modafinil. I'm able to lift weights, crank out 10, 15 miles on my bike, do my consultations, prepare for and do my show, and when I'm done, there is absolutely zero crash, and I have plenty left in the tank to enjoy the rest of my night. If you want the same kind of production without the crash or the habit-forming risks, go to donovansharpe.com/gorilla mind rush. Again, that is donovansharpe.com/gorilla mind rush. It is Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, and this is not a live broadcast. Tuesday nights are bowling league nights for Devin and myself, so I'm actually bowling right now, but I wanted to make sure that I provide the same solid content at the same time every night, and because of YouTube's premiere feature, I'm able to record an episode and then have it automatically stream at a designated time, which allows me to give you guys what you want at the time you're used to and go bowling. Listen, not that you care, but last week I shot a 163, a 177, and a 124. So I started out really, really well, and then I ended badly. However, I threw a total of 8 gutter balls over those 3 games. 4 of those gutter balls came on the last game. That's why I ended up with a 124. So if I can get rid of those gutter balls, I might actually be a pretty good bowler going forward. So we'll see what happens. The game that I shot a 177, I threw 2 gutter balls. It was a double gutter ball. It was an open frame. I still shot a 177. So we'll see what happens. Okay, let's get right to it. As promised, tonight is part 2 of my 2-part breakdown of a TED Talk done by a woman who goes by the name of Dr. Zana Vrangelova. And let me pull this up here. There we are. She's a professor at NYU who encourages promiscuous behavior among women and uses what she calls legit sex science to validate her claims. Now, of course, men in the know, men here, men with red pill awareness, we all know that sleeping around is very, very bad for women. And of course, I started that breakdown of this particular video last night. So if you want to see the ridiculousness in part 1, make sure you go back and check out that video after you check out this one. So without further delay, let's finish dissecting this nonsense. So we left off last night. We left off part 1 when Dr. Zana Vrangelova made this ridiculous statement.
Other studies show that casual sex has little to no impact on longer-term psychological well-being. Things like self-esteem, life satisfaction, depression, anxiety.
So she says that casual sex does not have long-term side effects on a woman's psyche. Depression, anxiety, etc., which we know to be absolutely 100% false. So that's where we left off. So let's go ahead and continue breaking down the rest of this video. Here we go.
Of course, this doesn't mean that all hookups follow this pattern, or that this pattern is typical of everybody who hooks up, and that no one's well-being is ever affected. No, these are just averages, right? When you look more closely at the people and the experiences making up these averages, you find that some hookups do indeed have the potential to harm or benefit well-being.
She's being flat out negligent here, guys. I have no idea, gentlemen, how she can stand on this stage and tell these people that hooking up on the regular isn't bad for women based on some bogus study. But she covers her, but obviously she covers herself by qualifying these particular statements, right? She says some hookups have the potential to harm or benefit well-being. And if you notice, right after she says harm, she quickly adds benefit before she says well-being. That's her female instinct kicking in to let her know that casual sex does indeed do far more damage to women than it actually benefits them. But because she's invested in this message financially and emotionally, and because this is her identity, she can't tell people the naked truth about female promiscuity.
And some people are more susceptible to that potential.
Here we go again. Hang on a second. Here we go again. Some people are more susceptible to that potential. The P word again. People. Some people are susceptible to that potential. Yeah. And the people that are the most susceptible to emotional strife that comes with sleeping around are women. I told you guys yesterday that Dr. Vrangelova is going to use the word people in place of women, because if she actually said women, then she wouldn't be playing to her base, which is women.
Casual sex is good for you or not depends on who you are and how you do it.
Translation: if you are a man, casual sex is good for you. If you are a woman, casual sex is not.
There are many factors that this relationship can depend on, and I couldn't possibly cover all of them in one 18-minute talk.
Actually, I can cover them in an 18-second talk. If you are a man, casual sex is fine. If you are a woman, casual sex is not. Period. That actually took me less than 18 seconds. This is simple math, guys. This is simple math. She keeps dancing around it. This is how it is.
But one critical one is authenticity. Doing only the kinds of things that are fully in line with who you are, your beliefs, your values, your desires, your needs. Casual sex is not for everyone.
No, it's not for everyone, namely women. Again, I sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, guys, but I'm going to drill this point home. Casual sex is not for women if they want to end up in a happy, healthy, committed relationship. And listen, guys, I guess I should have qualified this whole episode by saying that every time I say that casual sex affects women negatively and that it robs them of their innocence and femininity, that I should also point out that casual sex is indeed fun for women. The short-term benefits for casual sex are great. This is for both men and women, but the long-term consequences for women are detrimental. So casual sex for women isn't bad if she's not looking to settle down, right? If she doesn't want to start a family or a husband and she loves and that she loves and respects and loves her back, then yeah, smoke them if you got them and let the good times roll. Sleep with whoever you want, however you want to. But the problem is that girls think they can ride the carousel and still end up with a man who's worth a damn. What women don't understand, gentlemen, is that their sexual proclivities are a choice. They can either have casual sex with a lot of men, or they can have a solid, healthy relationship with a man of value, but they can't have both. And the problem with this is that they don't figure this out until it's too late. They don't understand that by choosing to sleep around, they are directly forfeiting their happiness and contentment with a man and a man. They don't realize that they can only have one.
Nothing sexual ever is, really. Due to differences in nature, nurture, and life circumstances, some of us have a much stronger general need for sexual novelty and much greater comfort having sex with people we don't know very well. So figure out where you are on this spectrum. Is hooking up with people you're not dating something that sounds enjoyable, exciting, an important experience to have, morally acceptable to you?
Morally acceptable to you. Whether you're a man or a woman, the act of sex, the act of sexual intercourse is amoral. Okay, it's not immoral and it's not moral. It's amoral, meaning that sex is neither right or wrong. Just like the sexual marketplace, right? Can the sexual marketplace be frustrating? Absolutely. As one of my bottles of Gorilla Mind Rush falls off the set. Can the sexual marketplace be unfair? Yep. But the sexual marketplace and the act of sex is driven by biological imperatives, and biology doesn't give a shit about what's fair and what's not, guys. Young, beautiful women want to have sex with high-value men, and high-value men want to have sex with young, beautiful women. This is how it's been since the beginning of time. Now, fortunately for men, we can achieve value in many different ways. But the same isn't the case for women. A woman's sexual market value is determined solely by the way she looks. Her overall value is determined by the quality and caliber of men she can attract. This obviously is dictated by the way she looks. There's nothing moral or immoral about these concepts. They are what they are. So you don't have to decide that you are going to be a moral, promiscuous female. You don't have to be a church girl. You don't have to be a church girl to understand that sex is neither moral or immoral. Sex is amoral. It is neither right nor wrong. And Bible thumpers, spare me with the Bible verses. And anybody that puts Bible verses in the chat, somebody time them out.
Would you be hooking up with this person even if you're never going to see them afterwards? If the answer to most of these is no, you shouldn't really be doing it. Now, there's a bit of an elephant in the room when we talk about pleasure in heterosexual casual sex. The orgasm gap between men and women.
Jesus Christ.
In a study of over 20,000 undergrads, 80% of men had an orgasm during their most recent hookup. This was true of only 40% of women. Now, there's an orgasm gap in romantic encounters too, but it's twice as large in hookups. This doesn't mean that women aren't enjoying it necessarily.
Okay, let me stop it right there. As far as this orgasm gap is concerned, tell me something, sweetie. Tell me something I don't already know. Right? Dude, everybody knows that men have more orgasms than women because it's a lot easier for us to achieve orgasm. But when she says orgasm gap, she's implying that there's something wrong with the fact that women don't orgasm as often as men. She is indirectly telling men to concentrate on her needs to make sure she orgasms if you want to keep her around. And as we all know, this is a fallacy. The more you pay attention to a woman's needs in bed, gentlemen, the less she will pay attention to yours. And women are not designed to be selfish in bed. They're designed to be selfless. This is exactly why 95% of a woman's satisfaction in bed is tied to your satisfaction. And I talked about this extensively in part 4 of my 7-hour audio course, How to Build a Quality Woman from the Ground Up.
90% of the women said they enjoyed their hookup very much, or at least somewhat. Most of them enjoyed it very much, about 70+%. But we can all do better. I mean, this gap needs closing.
Oh, Jesus.
Women need to learn to be more selfish, demand their sexual pleasure.
You see that? This is exactly what makes men and women unattractive sexually to one another. This is it. Women who demand sexual pleasure are bitchy, they're rude, they're unpleasant to be around, and there's no making them happy. You need to give me oral sex and I better squirt all over the place. How crass and classless and unattractive is that? Then men who say, I will do whatever it takes to please you in bed. Those men are equally unattractive to women. Women, like selfish men, who do what they want to them when they want and how they want it. Women love this. Women enjoy sex that is dominant. They enjoy sex that is controlling. They like it when men manhandle them. They like it when men take full control of their bodies. They don't like it when a man is saying, am I doing it right? Every 20, 25 seconds. A man who is an unselfish lover is exactly like a man who acts like a thirsty beta. Okay? Yeah, listen. Yeah, women love it when beta males reward them for no reason, but in the long run, she doesn't really value what he gives her because she didn't work for it. And at some point, she wants him to act like a man and reward her when she deserves it. Well, in the same vein, women love it when their man spends 45 minutes going down on her, but eventually she gets irritated with him asking her what she likes, how she likes it, and if he's doing it right. And at some point, she wants him to act like a man and just grab her hair and do whatever the hell he wants without regard for her needs. What Dr. Vrangelova is doing here is making women more masculine in the bedroom and making men more feminine. This is what she's doing in and out of the bedroom as it happens. Sexual selfishness is a masculine quality, which is why when a woman demands sexual pleasure, she looks terrible. Sexual selflessness is feminine, which is why when a man says, "I'll do whatever you want, baby," he looks like a fucking idiot. So here's lesson number one, guys. And I don't have a fancy graphic for this. But lesson number one, being overly concerned about a woman's needs in bed is unattractive to women. Now, this isn't to say that caring a little bit about pleasing a woman sexually is a bad thing. A lot of guys have the "you scratch my back, I scratch yours" sort of unspoken agreement when it comes to certain things like oral sex. I'm not one of these people. I do not give oral sex to women. I have before. I don't like it, so I don't do it. But that doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong. But what I can tell you is that I have never lost a woman because I did whatever I wanted to her between the sheets. Never have. I've never had a woman tell me, "I'm ending this because you don't go down on me enough," or "this is over because you're so selfish in bed." Women stay with selfish men at a much higher rate than they do with generous men, and that is both in and out of the bedroom.
And men need to learn to be more giving. Try harder to please their partners.
Oh, bitch, please.
Even in the briefest of one-night stands.
Oh, God.
You know, casual sex doesn't have to be devoid of all the intimacy and passion. It's not like you're doing your laundry or picking up your mail.
Sure it is, especially when it's a one-night stand. Listen, sweetie, I'm trying to get my rocks off. If I know this is a one-night stand, why in the world am I going to make an effort to wine and dine and 69 you if I know I'm never going to see you again? Right? Like, why would you make an effort? Why would you make an effort for a woman to come back? Why would you concentrate on her sexual needs if you know you're never going to see her again? Why would you do that? Dude, get in there, do what you got to do, and get out. And oh, by the way, she'll actually end up wanting more because you are selfish.
Try to give and get as much sexual pleasure out of every hookup. That's the whole point. Now, one major factor that keeps people from engaging in casual sex to begin with is the social stigma attached to it.
Here we go.
This dreaded reputation is unfortunately much more constraining of women's behavior than it is of men's.
Since when did slut-shaming ever constrain female promiscuity? Back in 1930? 1940? Get out of here with that. Slut-shaming by men is consistently met with vitriolic rage. But like I said yesterday, most of the slut-shaming comes from women. Women are the main offenders out here, guys, publicly. Women are the ones who outwardly admire guys for sleeping around and outwardly admonish girls for doing the same thing. So when she talks about this fallacy, she has only her own gender to blame here. Most men, if not all men, we all slut shame under our breath. Except for, of course, guys like me. I slut shame on YouTube. But most men, they do this under their breath. Most women do not. But everybody does it to some degree because we know, both sexes know and understand that women who sleep around are not the same as men who sleep around. It is not the same thing. I say all the time that women of quality do not come ready-made anymore, right? Back in the day, mothers used to raise their daughters to become good wives and mothers, but nothing could be further from the truth. So because we can't rely on mothers to raise their daughters correctly anymore, it is on us to build them ourselves. And if this is something you are willing to do, then you need my 5-part, 7-hour audio course entitled How to Build a Quality Woman from the Ground Up. You guys like what I did there? This is 7 hours of rock solid intel on how to build a female brick by brick into the kind of woman you want, need, and can even maybe come to respect and possibly even love. Part 1 deals with the vetting process. I will teach you how to select the right candidate by telling you what to look for, and more importantly, what not to look for in a woman. Part 2 deals with the training process. That's right, I said training. You must train your woman. I take you step by step through the procedures that prepare a woman for what it's like to be in a relationship with a man like you. I educate you on setting the tone early in order to reduce and possibly even, dare I say, eliminate any and all behaviors that could potentially cause trouble in your relationship and put it at risk. In part 3, I will instruct you how to set and enforce boundaries and expectations. I teach you how to be direct when communicating your expectations in such a way that leaves nothing to interpretation. Part 4 covers the sexual side of your relationship. How to dominate her sexually, how you can make yourself unforgettable to her even if you're not the most endowed lover she's ever been with, and the importance of deep conversion game to dominate her body and her mind will all be discussed extensively, including why you should never care about a woman's needs in bed. And finally, part 5 will teach you how to not sabotage your relationship, how to maintain it, and what to do on the off chance that your woman gets out of line or out of pocket. Now, it's very important for you guys to understand that this course is based on personal experience. I'm not giving you hypotheticals. I'm not giving you theories. These are techniques I use in my own relationship to this day, and anyone who follows me has seen that what I do works and works well. I haven't sold over 250 of these courses for no reason. Guys know this works. They see this proof every day. Now, this isn't a cheat code or a magic bullet, guys. Right? So if that's what you guys are wanting, if that's what you guys are looking for, keep your money, because that's not what I'm offering here. If you want to get your woman to look, act, and submit like Devin does, it takes time, it takes hard work, consistency, and most importantly, maintenance. So if you're willing to put in the work, go to donovansharpe.com/courses to get your hands on the only relationship guide that actually works by the only man who has actually shown that it works. Again, that's donovansharpe.com/courses. I've put the link in the description. Let's continue.
But here's an interesting thing. People do indeed say they don't want to be friends or spouses with promiscuous others. But more promiscuous college students...
Again, promiscuous others. She cannot say women, guys. No, men don't want to marry women who have slept around. Okay? And on the opposite side of the spectrum, women can't drag men who've slept around down the aisle fast enough. Bitch, it don't work that way. Guy, listen, she's being disingenuous here, guys. And to be honest with you, it's really starting to piss me off. I'm being, like, real talk. This is starting to piss me off. Women like this are the reason why girls think they're the same as men. Sluts like Dr. Zana are the reason why girls honestly believe that male and female body counts are equal to one another. They think that a girl who slept with 50 guys is the same as a guy who slept with 50 girls, and nothing could be further from the truth. People like this know that men and women are different. She has to. She has a fucking PhD in developmental psychology. And I know she knows because she keeps using the word people and others in place of the word woman, because the only way she can legitimize female sluttery is to combine the numbers with men who sleep around with the women who sleep around in order to show people statistics that support this lifestyle. And the thing is, guys, here's the thing, man. I don't normally get my feathers ruffled by men or women who peddle in false narratives to line their pockets. Okay? Guys like Derek Jackson, Matthew Hussey, and Jason Silver, all of those guys, and probably many more that I'm not aware of, they have recognized that telling women what they want to hear happens to be very lucrative. I do not listen. I don't hate on the hustle there, guys. But the difference between those guys and Dr. Zana is that Dr. Vranglova has a PhD in developmental psychology. People pick up on Derek Jackson's bullshit because Derek Jackson's not an expert. He doesn't hold a degree in anything but simping. He's not an expert or a psychologist. He's just a dude who's playing the hand that he was dealt, and is doing a very good job at it. And for that reason, I will never knock the hustle. Do not get it twisted. But when you have a person with a PhD from an accredited educational institution telling women that sex affects them the same as women, or the same as men, that's where I draw the line, guys. The fact that she has a PhD gives her more credibility, which means that people are much more likely to believe what she is saying. There are millions of people who have watched this TED Talk who feel a pang of doubt in what she says, because we all know that sleeping around is not good for women, regardless of what we say or do. We all know it's not good for women. But the fact that this chick is a doctor of developmental psychology quells these doubts. They think to themselves subconsciously, well, I mean, what she says must be true. She is a psychologist after all, and psychologists know the human brain and motivations better than anybody. It's the one thing. Listen, it's one thing when a nobody like me just runs off at the mouth, right? I'm not qualified to talk about psychology. I don't have a psychological education or degrees, so people can just dismiss what I say. But it is quite another when you have a qualified professional who has been given the stamp of educational approval and knowledge and uses this title to mislead people. And this is exactly what this hoe is doing right now.
Of both sexes actually report having more friends and feeling less lonely than their less promiscuous peers.
Unbelievable, man.
So if casual sex is going to be a part of your life, yes, there will be people who will judge you. But you can surround yourself with...
Again, people don't judge men for sleeping around. They judge women. Let me back up the video here.
People who won't.
She just said you can surround yourself with people who won't. This is exactly why slutty girls have slutty friends. Because they know their slutty friends won't judge them. But guess what? Slutty friends still judge other sluts. Sluts judge sluts all the time. Listen, it's so funny. Slut shaming doesn't come from the Madonnas. It comes from the whores, guys. That's the way this is. It is deliciously ironic that most of the slut shaming comes from sluts themselves. You can't make this stuff up.
Now, an unfortunate reality of hookups, especially college hookups, is how often they're driven by alcohol. When researchers asked freshman women to track all their sexual encounters over one academic year, this is what they found. The less known the partner was, the more likely alcohol was involved. You can't see it, unfortunately, at the end over there, but when it was a stranger, 90% of all hookups involved drinking. 63% involved heavy drinking, 4 or more drinks. Now, you may look at this and be like, yeah, so what? But it's not so what. This is really unfortunate because judgment impaired due to alcohol or drugs is the #1 reason for unwanted hookups. Hookups you regret the next day. Now, a couple of drinks to set the mood or for liquid courage is one thing. But getting smashed, that makes you do things you didn't want to do with people you didn't want to do them with. It diminishes your physiological ability to enjoy sex or perform sexually. It inhibits your psychological ability to set boundaries and express desires. It weakens your determination to use condoms. It makes you more sexually aggressive or more vulnerable to sexual aggression. And it also just blurs your memories. And I mean, don't you want to remember it?
Don't you want to remember it? This woman is trying to come off as cool or a hip young girl. This chick is in her late 40s, probably even older than that. She's on stage acting like a wannabe party girl. She's acting like she's acting like she's trying to be a sorority chick. The tattoos, the rings, the upspeak, none of that shit is cute on a 47-year-old post-wall slut. Secondly, all these graphs that she showed about alcohol, this isn't groundbreaking research. We all know that alcohol impairs judgment and inhibits discipline. What's becoming painfully obvious, actually, and it just hit me. This woman doesn't really know what she's talking about, right? Yeah, she has a degree in developmental psychology, but she hasn't told us anything we don't already know about human behavior, right? She's up here acting like a scholar who knows more than I do, but I haven't seen or heard anything that would differentiate what I know from what she knows. If I didn't know this chick, had a PhD. I would have guessed maybe she was a retired porn star who read a few articles and started a blog about sex. Miss Vrangelova doesn't look, act, or sound like an educated woman. She looks like a hoe rather than a respectable woman. She acts like an undergrad rather than a doctor, and she sounds like an old lady trying to act like she's 20. Anyone who trusts this woman deserves the life that they live because of it. They deserve to be taken to the cleaners. You deserve the pain and the turmoil that comes with taking this woman's advice. And by the way, alcohol doesn't make girls do what they don't want to do. Alcohol gives them permission to. Alcohol inhibits restraint, yes, but it does not inhibit sexual desire. If a girl gets drunk, she's gonna want to fuck the guy 20 times more than if she weren't. It's not gonna make her do things that she doesn't want to do. It's gonna make her want. Alcohol elevates, or it. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Alcohol sort of encourages you to do the things that you wanted to do, right? Alcohol makes people do things that they wouldn't otherwise do sober. Doesn't mean they don't want to do it. There are a lot of people that want to do a lot of different things. Alcohol gives them that liquid courage. She literally just said, well, she's going to say that here in just a few minutes. She attempted to blame shift here. Girls use alcohol to claim that they weren't sober enough to consent or to explain away their bad decisions.
Right? If you need to be drunk to be hooking up, you should not be hooking up at all.
Oh, please.
Now, sexual desire and romantic love are two distinct psychological and physiological systems that evolved for two different evolutionary purposes: making babies versus staying together long enough for those babies to survive. But the two systems are not independent.
Oh, yes, they are, Dr. Vrangelova. The two systems are extremely independent, at least as far as a woman goes here in 2019. You see, gentlemen, what Dr. Vrangelova is grossly feigning to be ignorant about is that the making babies part of a woman's sexual imperative, that is the visceral sexual attraction that women have for the alpha males, the men that they perceive to be the alphas, the men who are great with women, the men who are charming, the men who are 6'4" with square jaws, washboard abs, 5 o'clock shadows. These are the men that women want to have sex with. These are the men that they let hit it raw. These are the men that women have babies with. The part where staying together long enough for the babies to survive is the other side of a female's dualistic imperative. After these women have the kids of the alphas, knowing that the alphas are probably going to leave anyway, and when they do, they go looking for men to help them raise these bastard offspring. And the men who are willing to do this are not men who are good with women. These are men who do not understand a woman's true nature. These are men who are not sexually attractive to women. These are the beta males of the world. In the manosphere, this dualistic strategy that women pull off by having children with alphas, then settling down with betas, is called alpha fucks, beta bucks. There are other terms for it: alpha seed, beta need, good genes, good dad, whatever the case may be. And here in 2019, these systems are highly independent of one another. Women know that the men who make great fathers will not make good dads. They also know that the men who will make good dads will not make good fathers. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, Donovan, fathers and dads are the same thing, then there's nothing I can do for you, male or female. There is a huge difference between a mother and a mom. There's a huge difference between a father and a dad. That's the clue. That's the only clue I'm going to give you to understand what I just said.
Sex can set in motion a cascade of neurochemical processes in the brain that lead to love. Neurotransmitters released during sex, oxytocin, vasopressin, dopamine, they make you bond to your partner, even if you didn't want that to happen. And the more you have sex with that person, the stronger that bond grows.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Again, this woman isn't telling any of us anything we don't already know. It doesn't take a PhD of developmental psychology to tell us that the more people have sex, the more emotionally connected they become. Dude, this chick's a fraud, man. This is unbelievable.
Then, when those bonds get broken, as they often do in casual relationships, it hurts. Now, some people are luckier. Their brains are wired in a way that they don't get attached very easily.
Yes, doctor. Men's brains are wired this way. Men do not get attached as easily as women. Stop saying people. It's not certain people, doctor. It's men.
But you can also fight this involuntary infatuation.
Really? Tell us how.
With reason.
Yeah, because women are completely reasonable and rational creatures. Gotcha.
Not every person who gives you great orgasms and treats you well afterwards would make a great long-term partner.
See? She just verified alpha fucks, beta bucks, guys. She just did it. Not, I don't know, 30 seconds ago, at least in video seconds. She said the concept of having babies, which is raw sexual attraction, and staying together long enough for those babies to survive, which is romantic love, are not independent. Yet, here she is telling us exactly what I just said, which is that men who make great fathers, in other words, extremely sexually attractive men, do not make good dads or husbands. So if these two concepts were not independent, then why would she tell us that a great lover who treats you well afterwards might not make a long-term partner? If he fucks you good and treats you well afterwards, then that would appear to be the perfect mix, right? He gives you good sex and he treats you well after. Who wouldn't want that, right? But Dr. Zana, like most women, knows that men who have options don't treat women well after sex because they don't have to. And that women chase these men to the ends of the earth, which proves unequivocally that lust and the need for a committed relationship are 100% independent of one another here in 2019. This woman is absolutely clueless. She either has no idea what she is talking about or she is willfully leading people astray.
Go down your relationship checklist and find all those red flags of incompatibility.
Oh, God.
Then resist the urge to text them 20 times a day.
Exactly, because if we know anything about women, they steer completely clear of men with red flags and resist the urge to chase them. This chick, I can't even call her a doctor at this point. She has done nothing to prove to me that she is a doctor of developmental psychology. She has told me nothing I don't already know. Anyway, this chick, this hoe, is advising women to do exactly what she knows they won't do. She knows women won't make a checklist of red flags and disqualify the men with the most red flags. That is rational thought, and sexual attraction is not based on rational thought.
Or start naming your kids and planning your life together as soon as they leave your house. Keep yourself busy. Have a rotation of partners, perhaps. Works really well.
Oh, works really well. You see what she just did there? Have a rotation of partner. Works really well. She just had to let everyone know, I have a rotation of partners. I am a proud slut. This is where the rubber meets the road, guys. This woman spent the first 15 minutes convincing the crowd that female promiscuity has no consequences. She used all sorts of fancy language she probably Googled to make herself sound smart. Then combined with her PhD, she now has the credibility to influence women. So now her advice to these women is to have a rotation of men, to stay emotionally detached from the bad boys. Her advice is to sleep around so you can't pair bond with a man you know would never make a good dad. Sleep with as many bad boys as you can to keep from naming your children or texting him 20 times a day. That'll fix everything. Dr. Vangelova is leading these lambs to the slaughter. She is advising women to engage in mentally and physically unhealthy activities for the sole purpose of not succumbing to the very men she's advising women to have in their rotation. Having a rotation of partners does work, and it works well for both men and women. Here's the difference. Men are still capable of love after we sleep around. Women are not. So yeah, ladies, if you don't want to fall in love with the bad boys, go ahead and have a bunch of bad boys in your rotation. Just understand that when you take this route, you will lose the ability to fall in love with anyone altogether.
Finally, casual sex is not just for single people. Remember that novelty and adventure thing I talked about in the beginning? Well, many people in long-term relationships also crave novelty, sometimes much more so than single people. Some try to suppress those needs and hope they go away. Others cheat and hope their partners don't find out. But an increasing number of people, about 4 to 5% at our current best estimate, are starting to incorporate casual sex into their long-term, loving, committed relationships in an open and honest way, in a consensually non-monogamous way.
False. 100% false. This is not what's happening. Not at that rate, anyway. Let me explain. Open marriages, or marriages where both the husband and the wife are equally satisfied, have the same number of opportunities to sleep with other people and still love each other, are virtually non-existent. They exist, but they are extraordinarily rare, if not almost completely extinct. This percentage that she's talking about is false. Because in most open marriages or most open relationships, the woman is the one sleeping around while the man is not. What happens in these situations is that the wife almost always suggests an open marriage because she wants him strange, but she doesn't want to pay the price to get strange. And the price to get that strange is giving up the security and the validation that comes with being married. So when the husband gets word of this, he doesn't want to lose his wife. He doesn't want to lose access to regular sex. So he agrees to this arrangement. He gives her permission to have sex with other men, and she gives him permission to have sex with other women. And 11 times out of 10, the wife gets all the D she wants while the husband isn't getting any other women. Guys, there are countless articles, countless videos about a happily married couple in an open marriage. And it's always the woman who has like 17 dudes on the side, while the husband doesn't get any action from any woman, not even her. I have never seen or heard of an open marriage. Actually, I have. I've seen one example of an open marriage where the husband gets more action than the wife, or where they get equal amounts of satisfaction. That is Craig the Swinger. Again, I'm sure that these relationships exist, but barely. So anyone who thinks that couples in open marriages are happy are only half right. It is the wife who is truly happy because she's achieved alpha fucks, beta bucks.
If this is something that might interest you, there is a growing movement of ethical or responsible non-monogamy out there that you might want to explore, starting with this awesome book called The Ethical Slut.
Are you serious with this? The Ethical Slut? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Listen, I've heard of another book that's out in the same library called The Loyal Alpha. Right next to that one, there's a book called The Faithful Hoe. You guys see this? Women want all the benefits without the costs. There is nothing ethical about being a slut, at least as far as relationships and committed relationships are concerned. Remember, sex is immoral, right? It is amoral. But if you're in a relationship and you and women are fucking other dudes, that's not ethical. But now there is a book that calls women ethical sluts, so they can be sluts without being shamed for being a slut. Why am I not surprised by this?
All said and done, there's nothing inherently wrong or inherently unhealthy about wanting casual sex or having it often. Now, casual sex can be a source of mental and physical suffering. But it can also be an amazing experience that enriches your life and brings great happiness.
Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Casual sex does not bring great happiness for women. It can bring temporary pleasure for women, but as I stated in yesterday's part 1, an orgasm is only as good as the time it lasts. When it's over, it's over. After she puts her panties back on and gets dressed, she has to deal with the consequences of sleeping around and giving her body to hundreds of men. Dr. Zana is conflating temporary pleasure with lasting happiness, just like women call a sexual desire with the desire to commit. This is more of her misleading women, sending lambs to the slaughter.
Now, unlike with romantic encounters, with hookups, you are taking a risk. And sometimes you get rewarded, and sometimes you don't. There's no way you can control all the factors, but there is a lot you can do to maximize your chances of getting rewarded.
Yeah, stop sleeping around. If you want to be rewarded with lasting happiness, if you want to be rewarded with a man in demand, a man of high value that you love and respect, who loves and respects you in return, don't sleep around. It's that simple. This is how you maximize your chances of getting rewarded.
Take responsibility for your experience. Communicate clearly your likes, dislikes, limitations, expectations. Give an enthusiastic yes to the things you want and a firm no to the things you don't want. This kind of sexual assertiveness is important no matter the partner type. But it's absolutely paramount with casual partners because they're definitely not psychic. They probably don't know you well or at all. And sometimes they don't care much about your safety or pleasure. So you need to help your partners treat you the way you want to be treated.
And here she goes again. The men who do not care about a woman's pleasure, the men who are selfish, the men who have no regard for the pleasure or enjoyment of a woman during sex are the men these women text back after a one-night stand. These are the men that these women cannot get enough of. We are psychic, doctor. We know that women want to be dominated in bed. Women want to be controlled physically. They want to be submissive. This is what gives them pleasure, not demanding that he treats you right. And women know this, which is exactly why they cannot get enough of men who aggressively fuck their brains out without apology.
And whatever you do, please use condoms and do not get wasted. Of course, mistakes happen. Learn from them and move on. Remember the old saying, practice makes perfect. Studies actually show that the older you get and the more you do it, the better.
Studies actually show.
Skilled you become at navigating all these challenges of casual sex.
Yeah, translation. The longer you're a slut, the more skilled you become at hiding your sluttery. The more skilled you become at cheating on your partner without him finding out. This is why I always tell guys, well, I want to date older women because they don't have time for games. Au contraire. Oh, no. Women in their late 30s, early 40s are highly skilled cheaters. They are professional cheaters. They will play games with you until their head-turning assets shrivel up, and even then, they'll continue to play games.
So, it gets better, and not just for the gay kids. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, wait a minute. Start it over again. No, Dr. Zana, it does not get better. Not for women, anyway. This woman and these TED Talks are exactly why women like Amy Horton and Janelle Testa are wondering why men aren't lined up around the block to be with them. Why they're unable to emotionally pair bond to men. Why they feel alone and hopeless. Why they feel worthless. Why they feel depressed. There are millions of Dr. Vranglovas worldwide in the form of TV shows, social media, the culture, the list goes on. The world keeps telling women that not only are there no consequences, no negative consequences to sleeping around, they're telling them that it is good for them. They're telling them that having a rotation of men is healthy, that getting passed around is beneficial to them. But every day we see women who believe this nonsense suffering the consequences, but then turn around and curse at us because we're telling them, I told you so. At the end of the day, guys, things are going to get worse before they get better. I'd love to sit here and tell you guys that women are starting to wake up and that they are starting to understand that sleeping around is bad for them, but that is simply not true. So rather than blow smoke up your ass and tell you guys to wait for that special someone who happens to not be a hoe, I'll just tell you to enjoy the decline. And if you want a relationship of consequence, if you want to salvage, listen, you can never turn a hoe into a housewife. Do not get that twisted. But if you still want a relationship, a half-decent relationship with a woman, got to get my audio course. Listen, it's right there on the screen. Listen, it doesn't guarantee anything. All it does is it drastically reduces the odds of you getting got. I say it all the time. A woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn. That includes my own. It is just my turn with Devin. Maybe I'm the last guy to get a turn. Maybe I'm not. But do not think for 1 second that I don't think that Devin is capable of being out here doing the things that Dr. Vranglova is encouraging women to do. Don't get it twisted. Just because I'm Donovan Sharpe does not mean that I am not susceptible to the fuckery that women bring to the table. All I can do is put things in place, do things, say certain things, certain strategies to decrease the chances of me getting got. There are no guarantees. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.